we have a thing here, or
there's a connection.
Yeah, lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and 100%. You only get that. How many times in your life have you had lightning in a bottle?
3 or 4 times.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. For me, once.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about today? What about that?
Today's podcast is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use my code NASH and get $20 off your first order. All right, guys, what's up? Welcome back to the All Good Things podcast. My guest today is incredible. He's an incredible comedian, incredible stand-up, incredible actor. He has a show on HBO Max called Our Flag Means Death. They made 1 season. They've already made a 2nd season. He has a podcast called The Cryptid Factor.
Yes.
And I listened to some of that this morning.
Yes.
You're into conspiracies?
I mean, I'm not into them, but, they're there to be...
Rhys Darby here joining us.
Yeah, Rhys Darby.
I had to get the name in because then they'll take off and they'll be like, he never said who it is. Yeah. I read that you believe the chupacabra to be real.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I'm...
and you're very funny, but you're being serious.
Yes. Yeah, I'm into cryptozoology, which is the study of
Dogecoin or Bitcoin. No. That's something different.
It's the cool cryptid, not crypto, cryptid.
Oh, cryptid.
Yeah, I have nothing to do with crypto. I can't understand it. I can barely deal with real money, let alone imaginary stuff. So cryptozoology is the study of hidden animals that are not classified by science yet.
Okay.
So that's your classic Sasquatch, Loch Ness Monster, Lizard Man, things like that. El Chupacabra fits in that bracket. Very interesting animal, that one.
Sasquatch different than El Chupacabra. Those are two different.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so Sasquatch is the Bigfoot.
Yep.
The giant, upright, hairy hominid that's about 9 foot tall. And if these things are really they're moving about migratory in groups, much like apes. And so that's why they're hard to find.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and they can smell us miles away, so they know when we're near, and they just get out of the way.
Okay, so
They're smart.
Tell me the one that you followed that you found to be the most evidence of one.
The most evidence? That's a good question. I think probably Sasquatch has the most...
Pacific Northwest.
Yes, that's right, yeah. And nearly every continent has...
Protesting in Portland.
What's that?
Sasquatch was seen protesting in Portland, protesting Wall Street, and
right.
Yeah.
Possibly. From a distance, I imagine. What? Oh, he's here! God, he's always with us. But I think... What I was saying is every continent has a version of Bigfoot. So in Australia, they have what's called the Yowie.
Yeah.
So they're just different names. In Russia, it's the Almasty. And so there's so much of the world that really is still untapped by humans. We've been in briefly, but some of it is so rugged that we're not there much. Yeah. And that is their terrain if they do indeed exist, which I think they do. I don't spend my whole life looking for them. I think it's fun. I think cryptozoology is really, for me, it's a hobby.
Yeah.
And so that's what this podcast is about. Not this one, but the one I do, which really was an excuse just to get together with my friends once a week. And then that ended up being once a month, and then once every 3 or 4 months because we got busy. And we're not getting paid to do it, so it became... and still running, still something that we really treasure as a time just to have a laugh about things and about weird stuff. So not just cryptids, but also we have a section called the Weekly World Weird News, where we pull up a news story each about something bizarre in the world, and we kind of mine it for humor. Yeah. So that's kind of fun, but we take it all seriously in the fact that we're into it, and we're fans of the weird.
Do you get into aliens too?
Yeah, aliens for sure.
You believe in aliens?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I've been to UFO conferences.
You have?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wyatt told me that you and Finn went to a conference. What was that? You went with your son.
Yeah, I took him to Contact in the Desert, which is a big one here in California. And it's just yeah, it's just a whole bunch of fun. There's some serious and some even dark elements to it, where people are the conspiracy type people who are very deep embedded in the idea that, you know, the government's out to get us. There's so many secrets that are being hidden from us. And some of that may be true, but really I'm in there for the kind of exploratory aspect of what is the unknown and how can we find out what it really is, and just chipping away with people who are clued up and people who are prepared to explore and not just look at their books, but get out there and get their hands dirty and stuff. And things like ancient alien. Have you heard about that kind of
Tell me.
ancient astronaut theory, whereby we were put on this planet by extraterrestrials, and we were basically not cloned, but they took the creatures that were already here, for example, like a early human, Neanderthal, and they spliced their DNA with their own extraterrestrial DNA, thus giving us very smart capabilities. And then the idea from that point was to use those creatures, which were human beings, to mine and to look for minerals and help them out with their spatial journey. Whoa. And then we became too smart, and then we started to migrate and cultivate and actually create our own communities, and then obviously harvesting. And from that point, then I think the aliens left, and they said, we'll come back and check on you later. And then they came back, and of course now we've got cities and amazing things and everything. So
we're way smarter than the aliens.
Well, no, we weren't smarter than them. We're smarter than what they thought we would be. They thought we'd just be used as creatures to gather minerals for them. That's just one theory. But also the cataclysm theories, whereby this society of humanity has just kept rotating. So we get to a point where we end up creating, when getting there now, artificial intelligence, which eventually takes over everything that we've already created and decimates it, and we start again at zero, back to caveman again. And so when we see things like the Egyptian pyramids, and we wonder how they're made, and also other monuments around the world that have the similar aesthetic and the beautiful precise technology and measurements, and we think back in those days, thousands of years ago, we weren't capable of doing that. Well, it's because perhaps artificial intelligence helped. And our extraterrestrial brothers and sisters, or whoever created us, were behind it all. And yeah, so there's a cycle of, we get to a point and then the whole thing explodes, and then we start again. Yeah. So that's one other theory. I mean, it's fun to think about these things, because otherwise, what are these mysteries? And if there's so much unknown, that if we were such amazing specimens on this planet, that we'd know it all.
Yeah.
And we don't. So therefore, there's something that we're missing. And so some of these theories, these hypotheses, they kind of are the only thing to grab onto to try and figure out where we're going.
That's sort of what people fear with AI too, is that they will take over.
Yeah.
And that will turn over in that regard.
That's what's going on right now.
Yeah.
It's all about AI, and it's very helpful. It's going to be able to do all this great stuff for humanity. But the other side of the coin is it's already learning itself, and it's already getting too smart to the point where it's going to start questioning us and whether we're needed. And then it's going to start, so that's the horror story.
My friend did a video the other day. He's a YouTuber, and he had 10 guys, and then he had one of the female AI robots literally eliminate each guy until she picked one.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And someone was like, well, is someone controlling that? And it's like, no, it's
doing it itself.
It's doing it itself.
Yeah. It's getting scary, and that's why, like Musk and a few other top-of-the-line AI executives have said, let's put a pause on where this is going right now. So they've stopped it for at least 6 months till we can figure out, the safety precautions, and that's where we're at right now. And it's
Musk was part of a big AI group, and he left.
He started one.
And he didn't like the way it was going, and he pulled all his money out.
That's
I think.
Right. And now we're starting a new one, which is from what I've read, all about truth, or Chat GPT.
Yeah, he's on
truth.
To truth now.
So therefore, but look, this is just the beginning. I'd love to, and I probably will see in 5 years where we're at.
It's unreal, isn't it? It's crazy.
Yeah.
And your background is so interesting.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming those are your own pictures, but I've got to give it to you. The Garden of Eden wall is out of town.
Santa Barbara outdoor living room is what it is. Yeah.
I'm getting one.
No, but you were in the Army, which is crazy because all your characters are like very caring. You know, like when I see you in anything I've seen you in, as the manager on Flight of the Conchords, in Our Flag Means Death, you play the captain of a pirate ship, and you're just this like really loving captain, which is like goes against everything when you think about pirates.
Yeah.
And then of course they put you up against Blackbeard. The show is called Our Flag Means Death. It is so fucking funny.
Oh, thank you.
It is just like, I watched 5 episodes last night. It's so well done. There's something about New Zealand, all the accents, New Zealand accents. One guy's Scottish. Nate Faxon is Swedish.
Yes.
All the accents from around the world are so good.
Yeah.
And they're so funny. And then the funniest part to me is that you guys come up against Blackbeard, who's like the most feared pirate. I mean, I'll tell you, when I started watching, I was like, okay, it's about pirates. I don't know anything about pirates. But like, you make it so easy. The first thing is so funny. You go, you guys are all on the ship and you're talking about, you know, how pirates always die or whatever. But what you never hear about is total mental devastation.
Yeah,
which is so funny. Which
exactly.
is like, if you do live, the pirates would have to go through that and just live with the total mental devastation, which is probably worse than dying.
Yeah,
I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, it's looking into areas that are overlooked. You know, and it's modernizing the whole thing. But then it's only because everything we've seen about pirates in the past has only been, you know, from a distance, and the costumes and the cutlasses and the blood and the anger. Yeah. But they never really concentrate on, you know, the emotional management of these poor humans.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we look at that. And this is you know, based on a true story, where my character is an aristocrat who actually left his wife and kids.
Right.
He had everything, and he left it all to become a pirate. You know, and he's absolutely unequipped, and you know, he's a fool. But he slowly learns how to do it, and then he keeps questioning himself whether he should be there. And if you haven't seen the whole season, I won't spoil it for you, but it turns into quite a spicy, beautiful show.
This is the craziest. I want to put this in, but I want you to watch this. This is my favorite moment. I thought it was so freaking funny. This was just a moment where you're improvising with Taika.
Taika,
yeah. Taika, what is it? Waititi?
Waititi.
Waititi. I thought it was so good, and it's like, can you see it?
Yeah.
I'd come to your restaurant.
You might not get him. It's going to be very popular.
You'd save me a seat, wouldn't you?
Maybe. She won't be a dick. What night do you want to come?
Saturday night.
It's a busy night.
I'll come on the Monday.
Well, I can probably get you in. It's what's called Blackbeard's Bar and Grill and other delicacies and delights and fishing equipment.
But who wants to go to dinner and then you walk past all this fishing gear that you could buy? Maybe a gift shop out the back. Then you could say, oh, hope you enjoyed your meal. Have you seen the gift shop?
What do they say?
Oh, no, thank you. I've just come for a nice meal.
So yeah, like moments like that, a lot of improvising.
Yeah, that was fully improvised, and it's only because Taika and I know each other really well, so we can sort of judge where each other's going to go.
Yeah,
we know we have a very similar sense of humor, and so I can see where he's going, and then I can add to it. So it's, you know, you've got to be pretty skilled to be able to listen exactly to what the other person is saying, so you know all the details, but at the same time you've got to be spinning through your head about where you're going to go with it, so that so it's just a fluent conversation, and it looks 100% real, and because it is, but at the same time it's got to be hilarious and ridiculous,
and that's like a 3-minute improv that made the show.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, because normally if you're improvising, you'll just take a little bit, because you have got to get back to the story. A few words here and there. But I really like that, you know, that something like a 3-minute improv can just live like that.
Yeah, same. I mean, that's the kind of comedy I love doing. And the Conchords, we did a lot of that as well. A lot of the band meetings were improvised.
Yes.
And we're just really cracking each other up. We know we're having the best time of trying to make the comedy to the best of our ability, to the point where the people you're opposite are losing it.
Did you grow up like fan of like Monty Python and stuff like that?
100%.
You grew up in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And what's New Zealand like?
As a country?
Yeah, I've never been.
I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's modern. It's
clean.
It's clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got a very small population. It's very multicultural.
Yep.
And I think, I miss it every time I'm away.
Yeah.
But I know it's there, and in my heart, it's kind of like the safety net of whatever happens in the world. I can just get back to NZ or Aotearoa, as we call it.
So it was tough for you to move to LA.
It's tough leaving New Zealand because at a point where you're brought up in this really lovely place, and then you kind of have to leave. You get the itch that you see the rest of the world, because we do really feel separated from the rest of the world, and we really are. Next stop is Antarctica. I think we're way down the bottom there.
Yeah,
and we see it all on our popular culture television screens and things, and you just want to, there's an urge to, specifically the UK, to get to sort of like the motherland, the British, because I watched all their television. So when it comes to comedy, I was obsessed with everything the BBC made, and so that's the Pythons and all the David Croft comedies and anything with Rowan Atkinson in, and so I felt like that was my spiritual home for comedy.
Yeah.
And so once I got over there, you do fit in. You do feel as though it feels because we're part of the Commonwealth, so the Britishness feels okay. There's certainly some elements that are jarring, about being over there. But once then that kind of was the gateway to the rest of Europe, and so I was able to go and see some of the other parts of Europe through my stand-up.
Yep.
And
doing Edinburgh.
Yeah, well, that's
How many
up
times
in
did you do that?
Scotland. I've done that about 9 times.
Incredible.
That festival that changed my life, because it was really the epicenter of arts in the world. Like,
yes.
It was like,
how many shows are going on at the Edinburgh Festival at one time?
Well, over 600 when I was there, and there was like over 300 comedy shows, and these numbers could be vastly under what they are, but it's changed now. It's not as big since the pandemic and stuff. Things have happened. The whole world's shifted into a slightly weird flux. But back in the heyday, it was certainly the place to be. And as a comic, in New Zealand, that was the other reason I left, is because you had to get out. There wasn't you hit a ceiling really quickly. There's like 3 comedy clubs, and only one full-time one still to this day. The other pubs and bars, there's a circuit you can do now, but back when I was doing it, I was doing 3 gigs a week, and that was more than anyone, and I'd still have the same people turn up to some of them. Oh, we saw you on Tuesday. Oh, well, I don't have anything new at the moment. I was hoping, and so there was a bit of that, and but then when I got to the UK, and there's none of that. They're all full, and there was like so many places to do stand up. But then, opened up Europe for me, and then I always thought America was a dream too far, because being young in New Zealand, we've got a connection to the UK and then to Europe, but America, it was always like, oh, you got to get a green card, or you got to get some sort of visa to be able to get there, and so apart from coming over for 6 months to have a look, it really wasn't. So I sort of I thought, oh, it's never going to happen, and I concentrated on trying to make it in the UK, and that was quite a long slog. That was like a good 8 years of doing stand up.
Are you doing stand up, or are you doing like your show? Is it like a or are you just doing like spots? Both.
I'm doing spots. I'm doing 20-minute spots in all the clubs. And then I ended up headlining, so I was at the top of my game there for a while, and I would do a 1-hour show in Edinburgh every year.
Got it.
And then at that point, then you can, once you get a bit of fame and notoriety from that, you can then tour that show. But I didn't even get to that point in the UK, because I got swept up with the Concords and sent to America just as that was kind of happening. And so then America did open their doors, and I was lucky enough to work with the Concords, and the rest is history.
Amazing, huh?
Yeah.
Well, what a show that was. The music.
Amazing.
Unbelievable that, such a funny the comedy is just like so pitch perfect, but also the music
Yeah.
was like incredible. Like these guys could write songs like that.
Yeah.
That were funny, but also really good songs.
Yeah, that was the key, and you know there wasn't anyone else out there like that.
No, nobody like
yeah.
it.
I mean, Tenacious D were pretty good, still pretty good, but it's different.
But they didn't figure out the show the way the Conchords did.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we started with a radio series too.
I know.
So,
Yes.
with the BBC, and that was really good. And that was kind of mockumentary style, which is what the Conchords wanted. And I played their manager there, and we improvised most of that.
You did?
Yeah, we were out on the streets, and we had a little like a mini disc player just recording us as we're having conversations, and that was really fun. And then it turned into the HBO, you know, of all networks, you know, the King network
Best. Yeah,
back
yeah,
then, and that
yeah,
was
back
my
then.
my first time on television was on an HBO show in America.
Yeah, I remember seeing you being like, oh my God, this guy is so funny. All your characters are like, they're just like, they're so warm, you know, but they're also bumbling.
Yeah.
Not all your characters.
Oh yeah, no, most
but
of
I
them
mean,
are bumbling.
Lots of times.
They're
It's
naive,
so funny.
optimistic.
Naive and optimistic.
They
Where's that come from? Is that from your parents?
That's the soul of New Zealand, I think.
Yeah.
Is to be naive, not really know much about the rest of the world.
Right.
But be optimistic,
Right.
have that spirit whereby I can make it. And who are you? I barely know, but I'm going to do it. And, you know, we conquered Mount Everest with Sir Edmund Hillary with that same spirit. He was just a real battler and would never give up. Sir Edmund Hillary, he was the man who conquered Mount Everest.
Got it.
1953.
Okay, got it. And you hiked Kilimanjaro.
I did.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I conquered
Is
Kilimanjaro.
How long does that take?
It was like 7 days up, 2 days down. So, yeah, you camp on the way, and it was a real expedition.
You're a real outdoorsman.
I love it, yeah.
Oh, my
It's
God.
my military training.
Do you ever take the kids camping?
No, because they're not really outdoors.
Isn't it funny when you have your kids that are like, you have your kids that grow up? Rhys and my son are in a band together.
That's
it's called
right.
Great Big Cow. His son is Finn. My son is Wyatt. And you guys have seen a little bit of that on my channel and stuff. But yeah, it's funny. LA kids, they're LA kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's different, but, you know, they had these...
One time I said to my kids, I was like, I think I'm going to move to Calabasas. You know, it's like a little more space out there, blah, blah. They were like, what? No, wait, no.
Yeah.
We want to be in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Especially for what they're doing.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
I look at what they're doing and the context they have, the schools they're in, and it blows me away because I never had any of that. So they've got all this great privilege, but they're not abusing it. They're really working hard to... And, you know, I've never seen teenagers work this hard, like constantly, this band, rehearsing, recording new songs, playing gigs at, like, amazing places here in LA, like the Troubadour.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just full of pride
What were
every
you
time I
doing
see
at
them.
17?
I joined the army.
You did?
Yeah, so I was
17.
I was a regular force cadet. Yeah, so I did like a 6 months at this cadet training school in Waurou in New Zealand.
Were you scared?
No, I was excited.
You
know,
were?
yeah, it was my dream. So my initial dream was Air Force. After watching Top Gun, I wanted to be Maverick. But I wasn't smart enough. I got Fs in physics. So I was like, why do you need physics? It's just you got a control with a few switches. But anyway, I wanted a helmet. Yeah.
Did you see the new Top Gun?
Oh, yeah.
It's great.
Amazing. Yeah.
I was really impressed with it.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, they did it.
I can't
they made
believe
it maybe better than the original.
They pulled it off. Yeah. So anyway, so then my dream changed to the army, and I don't know, it's weird. I know, but like, who dreams of?
You don't seem.
But some people
you don't
do.
seem like somebody that's like gonna jump into the army.
I know. I know, but I was very physical as a young kid,
Yep.
and I was wearing uniform since the age of 12. So I was in the Air Training Corps, which I'd go once a week when my mum would take me to this Air Force base, and I'd march around, and I had this little blue uniform on, and we learnt all about the theory of flight, and we even went practically up. We went in a glider, and I learnt to fly. Yeah, and then I got, and then I changed to the Army Cadets. And then I rose through the ranks faster there. It was all based on how good I am at marching. Really, I was very and my authoritative ways.
Are you an orderly person? You have
very orderly?
Is your house clean? Is your stuff in order?
My wife's not orderly. Unfortunately, she's a big mess. So it's not. So, but my part, my side of the bed is very tidy. But it goes hand in hand actually with brains. Apparently, the more intelligent you are, the messier you are. And my wife is super smart. Me really, really tidy. So what does that tell you?
Tidy and tiny brain. Yeah.
Maybe.
We always see that in movies, with like someone who's in the army. They pull out their drawer and everything is in order.
Yeah.
And
we were taught to fold our socks into to have smiley faces. And there's a way you can do it. You can roll them up in a certain way that they've got a little smiley face, and you present that at the front. So when you think about soldiers and how tough they are, just remember in their barracks, you open their top drawer, and all their socks have got smiling faces on them.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting. Okay, so you go into the army.
I was a communications electronics operator. So I was a signals guy. So yeah, I was touch typing, putting up antennas, driving Land Rovers, and doing communications. So I was always next to the officer, and I did Morse code. So when messages came through, I'd be tapping, and the officer would be there. What's the message? Still coming, sir. Wait. Oh, we've got to move out. And then we'd put the tent down and off we go.
They still use Morse code?
No, not anymore.
Oh, not anymore.
But when I was
when you were there,
1991, it was a big thing. I did a 4-month course, Raytel Procedures 2.
Did you see any action?
No. I got out before my unit ended up going on a peacekeeping mission.
Yeah.
But I moved on before then. I did 4 years in the regular army, and at that time, I started to find myself, really, because I'm always late to mature. So I didn't get my first girlfriend until I was 19, and this was while I was in the army. And I was like, oh, wow, this is a whole new world. Kissing and stuff and canoodling. And I started to miss her every time I went on these missions. And so exercise training missions, not, but they were freaky enough. But so I decided to leave because I thought, really, my sense of humor was too beyond the military. I got told off a lot. And
when was the first time you went up on stage or felt like, oh, I'm really funny? Or
I think during university, during the days there, there was an ad in the paper asking for comedians. There's like a little stand-up tour that was happening in New Zealand with Mike King and Andrew Clay, and they were doing the centres, the different little towns of New Zealand, and each time they'd do a show, they asked any locals that might want to come up and do a 5-minute spot. And so I saw the ad in the paper, and back when you're looking at ads in the paper, I mean,
yeah, of course.
I remember 1994 or something like that.
Yeah, we're the same age.
We are, yeah, right. So
I'm a little older than you, but I'm around the same age.
Yeah. It's the best age.
It is the best age.
Yeah. Because we experienced the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
And we're also in the forefront of what's happening now.
Yes.
Because we've got kids who are teenagers. So we're forced to keep our balls juggling. I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, where was I?
Do you find yourself
we've moved
hard
on.
to keep up with technology? Because obviously our kids are so
yeah.
But do you find yourself hard? It's just hard for you?
Yeah, I'm not a big technology guy.
Me too.
But I'm keeping up with it.
I had a funny moment. I work with somebody who's 25, and one day I turned to him and I showed him my Instagram Explorer page, and I go, I go, God, Instagram's crazy. I go, the Explore page is it's all big tits like that and girls in bikinis.
Yeah.
And he goes, my friend who's 25, he goes, you did that. He goes, that's you.
Yeah, right.
He said, that's what you're clicking on. And I didn't understand how an algorithm worked. And I was like, oh.
Yeah,
He's like, you continue to look at those things.
Yeah. So that's yours. What? That's me? Yeah. The greatest fear. Everyone hand your phones in. Let's have a look at what you're looking at. Darby, you're out. Oh, come on. That's rotten. I swear, sir.
I bet your Explore page is like all chupacabras.
You've got to mix it up. So you can get stuck, especially when you start off with these the TikToks. Everyone, I think, gets stuck in the titty zone. My wife was in there, and she was sexy fireman or kept popping up. It's like, so it's both sexes. So
yeah.
I think
mine's not that anymore. Mine's not all Hezbollah now.
I miss those days.
Yeah,
because mine's just like boring stuff now that I'm actually into.
It's a lot of workout stuff.
Oh, yeah,
because
good.
I've been trying to work out.
Yeah, cool.
Today's podcast is brought to you by SeatGeek. Guys, you know SeatGeek. It is the best ticketing app out there, and today's podcast is brought to you by them. SeatGeek, what an amazing app. You can get tickets to almost anything. Coachella just happened, and people got their tickets on SeatGeek. VIP tickets. Go to the link in the description right now. Download the app, and have it there on your phone, and have it ready. You get a great deal. You can get expensive seats. You can get cheap seats. You can get just about anything. They've been so good to me here. SeatGeek has been supporting me for the last 4 or 5 years. They've put Wyatt and Charlie through college. Well, they're not in college yet, but you can get anything on there, guys. And right now, if you use my code NASH, you're going to get $20 off your first order, which is incredible. SeatGeek is the best, and my thanks to them for sponsoring this podcast. Oh, I wanted to do, here, these are some New Zealand words. Okay. I'm going to look at some New Zealand words, and you're going to tell me, I'm going to guess what they are. Ever heard skucks?
Yeah, it's a skuck's life.
What's that?
That's kind of, I never really understood it, but I think it's like a hard knocks kind of life, like for where you're kind of, you haven't got any privilege, so you're, you make the best of what you have.
Got it.
And, and you're proud of it.
Got it.
It's quite a good thing.
Knackered, that's drunk.
Knackered. No, that's tired.
Oh, knackered's tired.
Yeah, I'm knackered.
Geez, I don't know any of these words. Munted?
Munted?
Yeah.
That's more drunk.
That's drunk?
Yeah. The guy was munted.
Piece of piss?
Yeah, that's when something's easy. It's a piece of piss.
No way.
Yeah.
You got any good ones?
Oh, gosh.
Dodgy, I know what that is. That's like...
It's like sketchy.
Yeah, sketchy.
Yeah.
Pineapple lumps. You know any of these?
Yeah, those are... they're not fruit. Those are chocolates. So that's... they're little like soft... It's covered in chocolate, and inside it's supposed to taste like pineapple. They're called pineapple lumps. You know what jandals are? Yeah, they're flip-flops. Flip-flops, okay. Chili bin, have you heard that one? Yeah, that one's on here, chili bin. Yeah, that's like a, what would you call it, a cooler, where you put your drinks. A chili bin. Yeah. It's so silly because it does make sense. Yeah. Chili bin. Battler? That's someone who never gives up. Okay. I think I used that earlier, didn't I? He's a bit of a battler. Yeah, he's a battler. Damn. He goes into battle. The haka? The haka. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the, it's an indigenous warrior dance that we do before our rugby matches. I heard a joke. I went and saw you at Largo. I heard a joke in your act, which was, it was taking the piss out of Australia for being criminals. Right. Is that a thing? Yeah. Well, they're a penal colony. They were all founded that way. They were all initially, apart from the indigenous people, but the all the people that came from Europe and England mostly. What happened? They sent the criminals to Australia as So they were just like, we're not going to house these people. We're going to put them on a boat. They put them on ships and send them to the new world. And when they got there, was anything developed? Was it just? They were involved in getting things developed, I believe. What time period are we talking here? Like 1700s? Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I mean, this is that's Australian history, so I don't know a hell of a lot about it, but I just know that our country's nearby, but the prisoners didn't come to us. So the people that came to our country to colonize it were sort of people who decided to have a change in life, and they were settlers, and so they're wealthy, and they came over and they got a block of land, and they started building their houses and things like that.
So New Zealand was founded by a bunch of rich people.
Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't say that.
Or landowners?
No, the Maori were already there.
Okay.
And so there was 25 years of war between the British and the Maori, which ended up in a stalemate because they couldn't beat the Maori because they're amazing warriors. They invented trench warfare, and so it ended up. The British went, okay, we're never going to beat these guys. We're going to have to come to some sort of agreement. Wow. And that's the Treaty of Waitangi. And, so they gave them land. The Maori gave them some land in exchange for various things that the British had. And it didn't really work very well, but we're still arguing over it today. But in comparison to a lot of other countries, I think ours has found a great place to get to where we're all New Zealanders.
I saw a thing where you were you made these really funny videos where New Zealand was left off the map in many cases.
Yes.
And is that true?
That's true because we're just so out of the place.
So you made videos for New Zealand tourism company or whatever.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So it's all through.
But it actually happened where IKEA forgot you guys.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And because Australia is this big continent.
Right.
Everyone knows about it. It's got the weird animals, and the Aussies are so loud. They're always part of the world. And then the New Zealanders are just quiet off to the side.
Yeah.
Sort of hanging down a little bit closer to Antarctica. And our place is quieter and yeah, I guess we're not as loud people. That's one of the big things.
Is it? Yeah.
We're sort of insular. We keep to ourselves, and like my characters I play.
Yes.
There's a confidence there, but it's nothing like the American or Australian confidence. It's we're not sure of ourselves, and it's because we're left out a bit. But that's changed over time, and I feel like not just in entertainment, but in all facets of the world, we've really come to the forefront these days, and people know who we are. But specifically through entertainment, which is what people look at all the time. Myself and the Concords and a few other actors and musicians have really shone a light on our country, and we try to keep it in a very positive way. And
who are the big musicians from New Zealand?
So Lord.
Oh, Lord is from New Zealand.
Yep. You've probably heard of the band Crowded House.
Crowded House, yeah.
And so they're arguably an Australian band, but the Finn brothers are so Neil Finn is his band, and his brother Tim. They were in a band called Split Ends, which was big. If you're into music, they were quite the thing in the 80s. And these days, there's a whole bunch of other ones. The Broods, I think, and when I was in my heyday of rock and roll, the Datsuns was my favourite band.
The who?
They're from New Zealand. The Datsuns.
The Datsuns.
Yeah, I don't know if they made it here in America, but they were big in the UK. You should check them out.
Yeah.
They're fully rock and roll.
The music in Our Flag Means Death is incredible. I literally Shazammed 3 different songs last night. Moondog.
Yeah.
I had never listened to Moondog before. Do you know the music I'm talking about?
I know of the music, but I'm not sure of the...
Like some of the songs that were in there was just like, they were artists I've never heard of.
Really?
Yeah. Really good.
Yeah, I think that's probably David Jenkins, who's the creator, is finding these amazing music things.
After you did
putting it together.
After you did the Concords, you got a big break and you got to work with Jim Carrey, right? Does that come after that?
That was between season 1 and 2. So, that was my first big movie.
Were you nervous?
Oh, I couldn't believe it. 100%, because...
You obviously like Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey, I idolized him.
Of course.
Being a physical comedian, which is what I am.
Yeah.
I hoped one day I would meet him, but to work with him in my first movie, it would just seem like
That was your first movie?
That was my first movie. And so and he was so gracious with me, and it was the best time ever. You know, I had to do some scenes with him. We improvised some stuff as well, and he was just a real sweetheart with me. You know, so yeah, I have high praise for him.
Yeah.
For like, you know, because I was 100% nervous. I mean, I was like, what am I doing here? You know? But I pulled it off.
Yes, you did.
And
that's like an iconic movie.
Yeah.
To be in that gets watched over and over again and quoted and yeah.
Yeah, and so then when I came back and did season 2 of Concords, Brett and Jermaine were like, "Oh, here he goes, Mr. Big Movie's back." You know, and it was kind of like yeah, my confidence, which was already brimming, was now just total erupting. You know.
Do you get nervous before you go out on stage? Like when I saw you, I saw him. He does shows at Largo in Los Angeles, which is the best place to see comedy in Los Angeles. I mean, right?
Yeah, definitely.
It's the best.
Yeah,
the audience is the best. They listen.
The venue's awesome.
The venue's awesome. You can be experimental.
Yeah.
Did you get nervous before you went out the other night?
Not really. If I'm trying out new stuff, maybe. But I just know, it's my crowd, and they're going to go with whatever I want. But it's healthy to be nervous. It's healthy to be a little bit like, oh, I wonder how this is going to go.
Right.
Rather than just like backstage, just like, oh, when are we on? I never want to get to that point because you've got to be excited because that excitable energy. Sometimes I think I might have been a little too excited last time because I was jumping around and
I hadn't seen
prancing.
Anybody physically perform that kind of physical comedy in a long time. Like you reminded me of Robin Williams.
Right.
Yeah, it was just like the way you were moving about the stage and you had a mic.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
You're not holding anything.
Exactly. I like that.
You're killing it with that.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah, and I express myself physically. That's just what I do. And I'm at this point in my life where I go, I can't do that forever. I need to start slowing down and thinking of more sort of dialogue-based humor without...
You talk about that a little bit. What do you mean?
Well... I can't prance around with my legs flailing all over the stage till I'm in my 70s, So
you do you do this really funny bit about having skinny jeans.
Yeah.
And you extend your legs. And it's like really funny. You feel like you can't be doing this physical comedy anymore?
I mean, I can I can still pull it off.
Yeah.
As you can see.
I think so.
But it's exhausting.
It is,
and but it's just if people haven't seen it, I know they love it, and so I just sort of want to give them what they want.
Got to give it to them.
But but at the same time, that one side of my humor is very physical, but the other side I really love is the subtle and the dialogue based stuff, which is what you would have seen in Concords and things, whereby it's me behind a desk talking to two other people, and it's all just very dialogue driven, very awkward.
Yeah.
But
that's tough to do by yourself.
It's tough to do by yourself. But I do like playing other characters, so I can play off myself.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of experimenting that at the moment. Or I can also experiment with using a recorded version of myself backstage, which I did as well. And just so I could do humor with myself.
Well,
you can only trust yourself at the end of the day.
I like that you introduced yourself.
Yeah.
I think in the third person, right?
I think so. Yeah, I get so
Rhys
confused.
is here. He's coming out now.
Yeah, here he comes. It's me. I don't know. Look, it comes right back when I was a little kid. I used to just... I didn't have many friends, okay? I guess Mum would throw me out onto the back lawn and she'd go, do a play, make up a play. Who with? Just with yourself. So I just do other characters and I'd be talking to myself a lot.
Yeah.
And so, and I still talk to myself a lot. And I think no one questions it now. They just, is he in there with someone? No, he won't be. I can hear 4 people. That's just him. He's in there.
Do we have the food? Okay, we've got some New Zealand food here. We're going to take a sample.
Oh, wow.
Let's see. Okay, Jess, what is this?
So it's Vegemite and fairy bread.
Okay, this is Vegemite. You don't have to eat it.
Okay.
This is Vegemite and fairy bread.
That's right.
So Vegemite, I obviously know. What is Vegemite?
It's a yeast extract.
Oh.
Yeah. So, look, that is definitely more Australian than New Zealand.
Marmite's
But we have...
Oh, wait, this is Marmite.
No, that is Vegemite.
Marmite. Like Vegemite.
But we
get it here.
still have Vegemite. We eat. I mean, there's the big debate is are you Marmite or Vegemite?
Okay.
And most people are neither. I'm not phased. I mean, I'll have either. I barely notice the difference.
Is it like an older thing that that young people don't?
I don't know
now?
if young people are still rocking the Vegemite zone.
And what about fairy bread?
That's for parties. So that's called hundreds and thousands.
Yeah.
What you've got on there,
hundreds and thousands.
Yeah,
hundreds of thousands.
Don't you get those over here? Don't you? That's probably an American thing. I don't know.
Sprinkles.
Yeah, sprinkles.
Yeah.
And you just put that on bread like you've done, and now that's a fun treat at a party. See how fun it is? Because that's the whole thing of it.
It feels like prison food.
No, it's party. It's party fun.
I guess so. I think in America we're probably really decadent for no reason, and right.
Yeah, I mean, we were much more basic in New Zealand.
Yeah, more basic.
Like when we have a barbecue, it's just sausages.
Yeah.
You know, if you put a steak on, people are, here we go. What are you, the Queen coming, is she? So just basic sausages. And we wrap ours in bread as well, our sausages. Just a white bread with a little bit of...
What is in fairy bread besides sprinkles and bread?
Butter.
Oh, butter.
Yeah, just some butter. You got to put some butter on there so the sprinkles stick.
Me?
I would try... Oh, look, you've got some sprinkles on your Vegemite there. I think you've created a new thing there.
We could make $1 million.
Yeah.
We can make some money. I mean, yeah.
I think...
It's butter.
Let me try the new one. This is a new invention. I'm going to call it Fairies in Space. See how they're in the... Oh, that's good.
You like it?
Yeah. It's like party, but also just desperate for food, which is when you have Vegemite. I think because you eat it and you go, I shouldn't have eaten that. I won't eat any more. But you're full.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole point of it. I won't eat any more of that, but that's fun.
Thank you, Jess.
Fairies in space.
So what do you think about our boys? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, it's has the potential to be huge if they stick together.
I'm like, I felt really bad. I texted Wyatt once and I just said, you should tell the guys not to go to college.
Yeah. I know. And look, I'm
because three of the boys are going to college next year. And Wyatt is staying.
Wyatt's a year.
He's got one more year.
Yeah, a year behind. So, but look, they're so tight. With their friendship as well as their musical abilities, and I think they are going to college, but they will stick together. Yeah. And these days, it's not like back in the day where you leave home and I'll see you at Christmas. I think the ability to come back and forth and to see each other is far more frequent these days than even back in our day.
Sure. And you could send recordings. You can record where you are,
exactly.
and send it, have people put it together.
And so really it's just let's see, because they're so young.
Yeah, they are.
You know, to have the ability they have at the moment with the songs they have at this age, it's phenomenal. And even we aren't sort of respecting that enough as adults. We're enjoying it, but we're not thinking, hang on, these kids are like, I mean, some of them are still 17, right?
Yes.
And how old's Wyatt?
He's 17.
Even 17, and then the others are 18.
Okay.
And then but Finn's 17 as well. That's why they get on so well, because he's and because that year makes such a difference.
I think it does.
It does it in some ways. It does, right? It's weird.
I think it does. Once you're 18, it's a little
then you're like,
okay.
I'm a full man now.
Yeah.
But I think they will stick together. I want to see these new recordings come out. I think that's going to shape their summer, and I think they're going to get a lot more gigs over the summer period. And really what will happen during this summer will cement them going forward. And yes, they'll still go. They're not going to give up on the university dream,
right? Because
their parents are like, you've got to go do that, and because you're not going to be a rock star.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. What'd you say?
The parents are saying you've got to go and do college. You know, you can't just give up now and be a rock star at 17. It's not going to work. But
is college important?
Yeah, I mean, I did it. You know, I'm not going to say it's not important. Did I get anything out of it? Well, I became a comedian.
Right.
But what I mostly got out of it was learning to be an adult and interacting in a social form Yeah, there's a real. I think that period of your life, you need the intellectual busyness, because otherwise, what are you doing? That's a time where, when you're in your early 20s, 18 to 25 or whatever, your brain is literally fizzing with ideas. And I think that's why you've got to be at university. This is where they start their movements, and they create what they want to go forth and end up doing.
That's interesting. I think you might be right.
Yeah.
Because I sort of look at it like, oh, you can learn everything on YouTube. You can.
Yeah.
But what else would they? There's also the thing of burning out too.
Yeah.
Like, they go and, for any kid that's 18, let's not just talk about our kids. Let's open it up to everybody. For any kid that's 18, 19, maybe they want to be a comic, maybe they want to be a singer. There is that, like, okay, you go do that for 4 or 5 years, you maybe have some success, but then what? I think there's and especially with your story, everything that you are, like when I was like taking you in last night, it's like every little thing that you did, you can see in your comedy is basically
right.
You know what I mean? You did the army and you have a ranger character.
Yeah.
You travel the world. Now you have a podcast about the chupacabra.
Yeah.
There's a ton of other connections, but so yeah, I think there is a thing about like burning out and just going too fast, too much.
But yeah,
I
think so. I think it allows you to slow down, and it teaches you how to be an adult. They've got to live away from their parents for the first time.
Right.
And they've dabbled with that, going to camps or whatever, but now they're getting a proper education in what it means to save money and what it means to secure yourself and get home safely and cook your own meals.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. So it's really important they learn all of that kind of stuff. And also, these are the years that they're going to get their best connections with their stuff going forward. High school's great, but not many of us still hang out with our high school buddies on a day-to-day basis, No. And I think, but your university buddies, your college buddies are the ones that you're going to go forward in time with, I think.
Uh-huh.
And so those connections are really important. And also they're going to get degrees in other areas that are going to potentially be their jobs while they still do music on the side. I don't think anyone's going to go, right, I'm going to be a musician from now on at this early age without, even though they could definitely do it, without having something else that they can concentrate on as well. If I was literally just doing stand-up from the age of 17, I mean, I'd be complete mental.
Yeah.
And some of those guys do end up falling down rabbit holes of conspiracy theories because they're just so bored and they're just using their brain the whole time.
Yeah.
But I think you've got to have some other practical abilities. You've got to take your mind off the one thing that you think you're born to do and do other stuff so that you can look outside, look at yourself from outside, and then, you know what I'm trying to say.
I was about to say great advice, and then you didn't finish it.
I often, and that's the other thing.
I'm kidding.
You can
that was
out.
Really good advice.
Yeah,
really good advice. Because you know what, you've convinced me. Because the past month or so, I've been like, oh man, they have something here. I wish they could
just keep going with it.
Yeah.
And they will, but they'll take time to do other stuff.
It's funny that we all see it, that there is something there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everybody sees it. You're like, wow, it's isn't that something? Yeah, like I probably for you it was like when you met the Concords, right? And you guys were all performing together. You were like,
yeah,
we have a thing here, or
there's a connection.
Yeah, lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and 100%. You only get that. How many times in your life have you had lightning in a bottle?
3 or 4 times.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. For me, once.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about today? What about that? I mean, my background.
Listen, if you want to be the co-host of the podcast, I'm down. You can come every week. We've got we have a really exciting 14-year-old YouTuber coming in next week.
Oh,
that
really?
you can talk to. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll give it a miss.
All right. Well, we can wrap up, but yeah, I mean, this has been so cool. Do you have any? I love to end the show with. Well, you guys gave some really good advice, but you got any good advice for anybody about anything? It could be small too. It could be like make your socks look like smiley faces or anything.
I think,
or life advice, something deep is good too. Whatever you want.
I think piggybacking on my earlier idea of it's okay to do something else that isn't your main thing, because then you get to look at your main thing from another position. And when you're stuck on your main thing the whole time, you're in a little whirlpool and you don't see anything else and you can't concentrate on it, you know. And so, yeah, my advice would be to definitely have a hobby, at least one or two. Not only because it expands your social circle and you get to talk to other people, you're not just talking to the same three people every day, but it's healthier to step away from your obsession. And then you can, and then so when you come back at it, you've got fresh eyes. And then also these other elements that you're in, these other hobby type things, you might find something there that lets your obsession wane. Wayne is also a very popular New Zealand name.
I think I know what you mean. Like you go to you went to the alien conference with your son, and that's your hobby, but it
could easily be my obsession.
Yeah, it could go back to your obsession too. Yeah.
So I guess my obsession is comedy. So I've tried to not sit around all day just trying to write jokes. I can't help but see the lighter side of life and everything. So in order to step away from that, I'll even get into politics or world affairs. You know, what's happening in the world that might be something that you could feel a little bit of passion for, that you might want to fix or help people who need help. Things like that, work in a soup kitchen, things like that.
Yeah.
Because it's really healthy to step away from the thing that you think is just your one lane trajectory to success.
Yeah, that's really good advice. That's really good. I want to volunteer, and I never know where to go.
Right. just put something out here like today. I want to volunteer.
Guys, if you're in LA and I can volunteer, let me know. I did something for School on Wheels recently, but I want to do more stuff.
Yeah.
I was at Snapchat the other day, and they have a program for kids that can't afford college, and so I said, I'll come down and speak, but. You know, I don't know. A soup kitchen would be fun. Have you done that?
Yeah, I've done that.
And that must be so rewarding.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, it's weird. We don't think about that enough. But how often are we just sitting around at home, just scrolling on our phone when we could be helping people?
Yeah.
And I think it's something that we need to set our alarms for and go, hey, don't forget, you could get out there and volunteer for some stuff. You don't have to do it all the time. But honestly, you will feel much better doing it. And so I think that's something that we should all do more of.
So exciting to see them do what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're all jazz musicians, which like the rock is so easy for them.
Yeah, the worry I have with them, you know, going to the little separate universities and stuff is that they're going to find other people and they might just...
That's what I think.
Just dissipate, abandon their original project and get new bands and stuff like that because they're going to, but
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think so.
If I was like, I always trust my gut, and my gut tells me that no, they'll stick together.
And they're tight friends. That's the other thing that I think is going to let them stick together.
I think they're all kind of similar.
Yeah,
and it might be hard to find people that they connect with as well as they do.
Yeah, and they're all LA boys. You know, they're talking about, I can't wait to get to New York and stuff like that. But when they get up, it's different people. You know, it's obviously going to be kids from other places as well. Yeah. But you know, there's an LA thing, and they don't realize it. And it's a kind of a way of being. They're laid back, but they're also really motivated. And but it's done in a very chill kind of optimistic way.
Yeah, and they also have a little community.
Yeah,
too, because the kids from the other schools, like
the
ones that go to what is it? LACMA, not LACMA. You know, the school downtown.
Yeah.
All right, let's see this news story. It says brazen burglars tunnel their way into Seattle Apple Store through bathroom wall of coffee supply shop to steal more than 400 iPhones.
Oh my God.
Have you ever stolen anything?
No, it's not my jam. They tunnel their way into the Apple Store through a bathroom wall.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow. I mean, you've got to give it to them. That's like a heist.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
If you're putting in that much effort, good on you. It's still criminal activity.
Yeah.
But we have a big problem in New Zealand with the smash and grabs. Which is where
you have crime in New Zealand?
What's that?
You have crime in New Zealand?
We have crime. Yeah, we don't talk about it. So I'll keep this brief. But you know, it's quite a thing. It's when I was there last, it was in the media a lot, and it could be just because of the world we're living in right now. It's tougher, and so people are needing to get money, and so they're smashing jewelry shops and grabbing stuff and getting out. You know, and wearing their hoodies, getting in a car, and just trying their luck. Really risk.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's it just goes to show that.
Is it a lot, or is it just like you saw it on the news and you think it's a lot? That's what I find a lot. I always get.
It's hard to say, isn't it?
I always get. Yeah, it is hard to say. It is hard to say. I always get phone calls from people in Boston. They'll be like, "Are you okay? Are you on fire?
Yeah.
Is everything all right there?" I'm like, "What do you mean?"
You watched the news, did you?
Yeah, the wildfires. The wildfires, and you're like, "There's no wildfires. There's nothing here. There's nothing going on."
Well, a lot of it is the media, for sure, but the stuff's happening.
Yeah.
But then a lot of people don't trust the media anymore because
you can't.
You know,
it's really sad to say.
Yeah.
I used to work in news.
Oh wow!
When I was in college, and I quit for that reason. Really? I wanted to be a broadcaster. I wanted to be like a sports broadcaster, and then I was working for like a local news station, and they would just lie, and I'd be like, "Oh, I can't do this." It was crazy, and this was a long time ago. This was like the 90s, and I was like, I gotta leave. Also, when it would snow, I would have to go to work, and I almost died driving to the station once.
Oh no!
So that was another thing.
Yeah, it'll put you off.
Yeah, I was like, I don't need this.
Dangerous, almost dying getting to work, and then it's all lies.
Did you ever almost die in the Army? Did you have any close calls in your life? I almost drowned once.
Really?
Yeah. Did you ever almost die?
I don't think so.
Even climbing Kilimanjaro?
Oh yes, that was good point. That was the closest. Because I was not well. I had a sore throat.
This was for a TV show, right?
This was but predominantly for charity.
Okay.
So that's why I did it.
Charity? So you were raising money?
Yeah.
So did you go around and people pledged money to you? I'm going to climb Kilimanjaro?
Yeah, kind of like that, yeah.
Okay.
But I had a sore throat. I had a chest infection, basically. But because I was doing this for charity, I wanted to, I don't want to give up. And also, it's not in my nature. So they kept telling me, well, I think you should probably stop here, mate, because I was struggling. I was walking so slow, because the higher up, the atmosphere, very hard to breathe. And I couldn't get enough oxygen in. And my throat was sore, my chest was very tight, and I was going, oh, I can make it. I'm going to do this. And I did get to the top, but as soon as I got there, I was only there for about 15 minutes, and the guy said, all right, down you go, mate.
Really?
Yeah.
Because they were worried about you.
Oh, yeah.
Your health.
And as I was going down, I saw people being taken down in stretchers all the time. A lot of people didn't make it. It's kind of like... you're climbing a giant mountain. We're not supposed to.
And so I'm confused. So you go, it's 7 days, and you go, and then you kind of just camp on the side. You pitch a tent.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we have people that we had porters, so we had cooks and people like that. So we had people carrying our bags. You know, it was
good.
yeah. I think I carried some of my stuff, but we had and you kind of have to do it this way because it's the locals that you pay to take your stuff, and they pitch the tents and they cook you your meals and things like that. And so it's all the money goes into local situation.
What's your body feeling like? Like,
why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stiff and it's freezing cold.
It's cold.
Absolutely. I had 2 pairs of gloves, wore 2 jackets, and I would sleep in a really, really good sleeping bag. And you can't wear all that inside the sleeping bag because it's you don't feel the benefit. But the next day, yeah.
Wait, you can't wear that in the sleeping bag?
No, you kind of because you'll just sweat in it. And you've actually got to take off as much as you can and just have a really good sleeping bag as you and you're inside a tent, but it's still cold.
Yeah, there's no heat in the tent.
No, but you've got body heat.
Body heat, and so you sleep in underwear in the tent.
Yeah,
in the sleeping bag.
Yeah. You're like certainly
but the
long
bag's
johns,
really good, and long johns. Yeah,
and have a really good. You've got to have a really good, -20 sleeping bag.
Is it snowing?
Yeah, it was. I can't remember. I don't think it was up the top. It's definitely snow at the top. Yes,
there was snow at the top, and you only sat there for 15 minutes.
Because it depends on what time of the year you're hiking it.
Right.
But yeah, it's. I think it's a ginormous mountain, so there's got to be snow at the top. That shows you how much I remember of the last last day and a half because I was just in tears, like walking really slow.
You're doing like 10 hours.
They thought I had altitude sickness, and they were going to send me down, but I said I'm fine. So that was the closest I came to carking it.
Yeah. To what again?
Carking it.
Carking.
Dying. It's another New Zealand one for you. Cark.
So, cock.
Yeah.
Cocking it. Okay.
C-A-R-K.
Got it.
Carcass?
Yeah. Like a carcass.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
It's a new one for you.
I want to go to New Zealand. I want to go.
Yeah, we'll take all your slogans and you'll be away laughing.
Okay, all right. Well, Rhys, thank you for coming. It means a lot to me.
No worries.
I'm like really stoked on your career now. And
you're in.
And you got some big things coming. You have another season of Our Flag Means Dead.
Another season coming out.
Incredible. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to finish it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't spoil it for me.
No.
Because it does, it's a serialized element to it. And it's good. I'm going to watch it. I'll finish it.
Yeah.
Do you know when that comes out, the second season?
Not sure. They won't tell us.
Yeah.
But everything takes so long these days. I don't know what's happening with television.
Really?
Yeah, it's just things are taking longer.
Writer's strike.
There's a writer's strike happening.
You got it in.
Yeah. So it will come out, obviously. And we've just got to hold on till it does. And I know you're the fans out there who are watching this right now, you're chomping at the bit, which is another term. I don't know whether you've heard that one.
That one I know.
Oh, you know that one. It's probably American.
I think that's American.
Horse racing or something. You're being very horsey about it. But hey, trust me, all good things come to those who wait. As my mother used to tell me that one.
Yes, that is true. All good things come to those who wait. And my mom has a good one too. What is it? No good deed goes unpunished.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one too.
Yeah. And another one, and I'll end on this one. My mother used to say to me when I was bored, which was 90% of the time, go outside and chase yourself.
All right, guys, go outside and chase yourself. Go check out Rhys Darby on Instagram. Go check out Our Flag Means Death. Go check out his podcast. I'll link it below. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Rhys.
Bye.
Bye.